And blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning on KIDO Talk Radio. Phone number is 580-5436. 580-KIDO. And obviously, when we're talking about the IG report, the Inspector General report, that's one thing that I do want to talk about with you. By the way, in addition to that, we've got other things going on. The Boise Music Festival, only, a week and a couple days away. Some great deals for you right now at KIDOTalkRadio.com. And there you have it. That's going to be just a wonderful idea. 3 for 1. That's right. You can get 3 tickets and get 1 free only today. So check that out right now at KIDOTalkRadio.com. It got heated a little yesterday at the White House press briefing. And you had Sarah Sanders doing her thing, minding her own business, really not bothering anybody. And you had some people that were taking shots at Sarah, and we'll share that with you coming up. Also, more fallout from the FBI IG report. The FBI says, no, we're going to be a good FBI. We're not going to cause problems. And if you heard Sean's show yesterday, and by the way, Sean Hannity has really owned it from Singapore, where he has had the exclusive coverage with President Trump, has been on this report for quite some time. And, you know, as you heard from Fox and Friends, Rudy Giuliani said Mueller needs to go. This whole deal needs to go, right? I would agree with you. The whole thing needs to go and needs to stop. And what we're talking about here is this report concerning the Mueller investigation, Hillary Clinton's emails, and everything else. And I think Rudy Giuliani hit the nail on the head.
We now have an investigation that, in the words of President Donald Trump, from the very beginning, has been a fix, a frame-up, and a witch hunt. It was led by Peter Strzok, who it is disgraceful. And even for the present director of the FBI, to have him there tomorrow, it would be disgraceful.
I would agree. Let's go to the phones. We're joined by the publisher of the Tea Party, or the Gem State Patriot, the Tea Party Bob. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Miller. You berated me for not calling early yesterday, so today I'm going to do a reverse on you.
All right.
You know, I must say that after listening to the IG report, it basically comes to the conclusion that a good deal of the elite government are totally corrupted and have their own agendas, but it's not the agenda of the people. It appears that many of them have a disdain for the ordinary people of this country, and they need to be purged from the deep state. It's high time we eradicated these people who want to change this country to a socialist format of government where they decide who will be in office and run the government. And this is exactly what Ben Franklin meant when he said it's a republic if you can keep it. To be sure, we don't know the half of what really went on behind the scenes and probably will never know. Obama planted a rotten crop of government employees during his 8 years in office who will continue to undermine the Trump administration every chance they get. These people have to be rooted out like weeds in a garden, which is why we need to get a strong Republican turnout in November elections to make sure that we can keep control of the House and the Senate. When you look at the resistance President Trump has encountered in the first 500 days in office, it's a miracle he's done what he has with his accomplishments. We need 8 more years of him if we're going to fix what's wrong with America. And just a quick comment on the vaccine, since you guys are still talking about it. You know, I've spoken personally with some of the real experts in the field of vaccines on my Healthy Conclusions show, like Dr. James Lyons-Weiler and Dr. Tony Bark, who has many years of experience working with children who have had vaccinations and contracted various diseases. To quote Dr. Bark, what I notice is that children who come to me from other practices where they've been fully vaccinated often are the kids in my practice with asthma, panic disorder, OCD, PANDAS, autism, and Asperger's. And she states very clearly.
Okay, I thought that was a brief. I thought that was a brief comment about vaccines.
Well, I've got a YouTube up on the Gem State Patriot Facebook with her talking about the vaccinations for anybody who is interested and would like to listen to what she has to say. Because I think it's important that people understand what the dangers are of these vaccinations.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. Our great friend Tea Party Bob. Phone number is 580-5436. 580 KIDO. By the way, I want to congratulate our friend Sandy for reminding me today is National Day of Prayer for Law Enforcement. Our great friend Sandy from Christian Living Magazine. Certainly, we love her. She does a great job. Today at the State Capitol building at 12 o'clock, there'll be a prayer. There'll be a service for local and national law enforcement. Again, National Day of Prayer for Law Enforcement. That is today. Thank you, Sandy, for doing this. Got a little heated yesterday. Let's take a listen.
It has been our administration's policy.
The administration said it was a deterrent. They're separating families to deter people from coming here illegally.
Our administration has had the same position since we started on day one that we were going to enforce the law. I know it was something that wasn't high on the priority list in the previous administration, but it is on ours. We're a country of law and order, and we're enforcing the law and protecting our borders. We would like to fix these loopholes, and if Democrats want to get serious about it instead of playing political games, they're welcome to come here and sit down with the president and actually do something about it. Jill.
Don't you have any empathy?
Jill, go ahead.
Come on, Sarah, you're a parent. Don't you have any empathy for what these people are going through? They have less than you do.
Guys,
Sarah, come on,
settle down.
Seriously.
I'm trying to be serious, but I'm not going to have you yell out of turn. Jill, please
it's
call.
It's a law, and they have, these people have nothing.
Hey, Ron, I know you want to get some more TV time, but that's not what this is about. If I want to recognize you, go ahead, Jill.
Honestly, answer the question. It's a serious question. These people have nothing. They come to the border with nothing, and you throw children in cages. You're a parent. You're a parent of young children. Don't you have any empathy for what they go through?
There you have it. Don't you have any empathy for Sarah Sanders trying to run a meeting, and this guy from CNN just goes Looney Tune and loses it? We'll talk about that, but first, let's go to Patriot Ray at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Patriot Ray.
Good morning. Hey, what a day, huh?
Indeed.
So all the collusion that they're looking for with Trump and Russia and everything else is found in the Obama administration and Hillary Clinton. There's no place else to go. They need to get them and convict them and put them in orange. I'm up for that.
Well, good luck with that. That would be nice if they would do that, but then you have Peter Strzok saying...
But it's still, there's all the collusion they're looking for, and all they have to do is look there and no further, and I don't know why Congress isn't jumping in, especially the Republican Congress. They're like children. They're afraid somebody's going to say something to them and they're going to get in trouble by the principal, so they better wake up and become men and real women and quit destroying our country by being quiet.
But I don't think that's possible anymore.
No, you're probably right.
Look, they had Bill Clinton. They had Bill Clinton on perjury.
Sure. And they did nothing with him. So they did the same thing with the rest of this crew, except they would go after Trump and impeach him and get him out of there because that's their narrative. They want to get rid of him, because he's doing things that are right for this country. And the other people who are sitting back, the public, who allows this to happen, and they keep electing these sick people, it's wrong. It's definitely wrong. So here we are, stuck in the middle of things, and it's going to end up badly for everybody. So we'll just keep going forward because Christ is still in charge. Thank you.
Thank you, Patriot Ray. God bless our great friend. We love him to death. But getting back to this clip has gone viral, but here you have this report from CNN just losing his mind with Sarah Sanders.
It's been our administration's policy.
The administration said it was a deterrent. They're separating families to deter people from coming here illegally.
Now, here's the other one. They're up in arms about the illegals coming in. The illegals know what they're doing. They're bringing their families, and the illegals are breaking the law. Well, what happens if you break the law and you have kids? The state takes your kids away. That's what's happening here. These people know what they're doing. These people are not reporting. They're inciting mass hysteria. You know, all of a sudden, instead of reporting the news, they're the good guy crusaders. It's really, again, quite disingenuous. But let's take a listen to what happens next.
Our administration has had the same position since we started on day one that we were going to enforce the law. I know it was something that wasn't high on the priority list in the previous administration, but it is on ours. We're a country of law and order, and we're enforcing the law and protecting our borders. We would like to fix these loopholes, and if Democrats want to get serious about it instead of playing political games, they're welcome to come here and sit down with the president and actually do something about it. Jill.
Don't you have any empathy?
Jill, go ahead.
Come on, Sarah, you're a parent. Don't you have any empathy for what these people are going through? They have less than you do.
Guys,
Sarah, come on,
settle down.
Seriously. serious.
I'm trying to be serious, but I'm not going to have you yell out of turn. Jill, please call.
It's a law, and they have, these people have nothing.
Hey, Ryan, I know you want to get some more TV time, but that's not what this is about. If I want to recognize you, go ahead, Jill.
Honestly, answer the question. It's a serious question. These people have nothing. They come to the border with nothing, and you throw children in cages. You're a parent.
See, and if you could see this guy, he's not sitting down. It's like he's cutting a wrestling promo. Now, many of the libs, many of the people in Boise, they would say to themselves, oh, this is good. He's a crusader. But this is showboating. This is grandstanding. And God bless Sarah Sanders for just sitting there and looking at this guy. I don't know. I think the only way you tame those people, like you do with people that misbehave, like children, is just go, okay, obviously, Brian, whatever your name is from CNN, you're angry. You get a timeout, and we're done today. We're done today. So if you're going to act that way, you're going to act inappropriately, we're going to leave. Like I said, when people break the law, they don't take their kids to the prison. So why would we encourage people to come to this country and bring their kids and let them stay together? Look, it's time for you guys to go home. And the president, with Jeff Sessions, is enforcing the law. Again, this is what the president is up against. This is what we're up against. The venom, the vitriol of the liberal leftist press. And I know I sound like Black Helicopter Friday, but I've just never heard anything like this. I saw that live yesterday, and I'm going, is this really appropriate? No. But this is what the deep state is about. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Again, there are laws, there are consequences that have been ignored during Obama and during the Bush administration, during the Clinton administration. The untenable task for Trump is that he's got to enforce it. Like I said, when you break the law, they separate you from your kid. So what's the difference? Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone number is 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Here's the latest on the Inspector General report from Trey Gowdy.
Director Comey unwittingly just proved the point of the question you asked him on follow-up. Would you have kept him on the investigation had you known what you know now? And he said no. Okay, why not? Because bias is that insidious, that is that pervasive. It colors your ability to do what we need the FBI to do, which is to be fair and fact-centric. So, of course, you're going to fire him the day you learn. In my head, I go back, when did you start working on the case? That's when you should have been fired.
Marlon in Star with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Marlon.
Good morning, Kevin. How are you?
Not bad, and you?
Doing well. I just had a quick comment on the CNN reporter at the press conference yesterday. I believe the only way that these things are going to change, at the first start, it's pretty simple. You got to revoke the press pass for people like that. As soon as that happens yesterday, you let Brian from CNN know that that's his last time that he'll attend one of those. We start eliminating those things and make an example of them.
Well, they're out of control. They really are. I agree with you.
There's no respect in that press conference for anything that she's going to say or represent from the president. And if that's how they're going to act, I think press passes should be given out to people who are going to at least respect and let her deliver, the message from the president.
Right. And like I said, I think it's just going to get worse until something happens and they start behaving, whether it's Jim Acosta or this guy.
I agree with you. Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it.
Marlon, best of luck in Star there. Maybe I'll see you around the Mercs sometime.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you,
Take
sir.
care.
Bye-bye. Traffic and weather together, KIDO Talk Radio.
Kevin's Every Gabbard.
And back to your phone calls. Let's go to Mike in Emmett, home of the Cherry Festival. Good morning, Mike. You're on KIDO Talk Radio.
Yes, good morning. Hey, I was just wondering if, for being a reporter, if they understood that the laws to separate children at the border is also for sex trafficking to make sure that those children belong to those parents. And it's just kind of sad that, you know, the reporters would not want to enforce the laws.
Well, why would we enforce the laws? You're breaking people apart. It's it's a Hallmark moment.
Yeah. I don't understand because I mean, with this day and age and what's going on, you know, to me, you know, enforcing the law and taking the child aside and saying, "Are you supposed to be here? Are these people hurting you?" I mean, that would, to me, would be more comforting than, "Oh yeah, just go on through."
Well, you don't get that. Well. You don't get that at the White House press briefing.
No, you don't. But yeah, for being a reporter, I'm kind of surprised at their ignorance on what the laws are and why they're even written the way they have been.
Well, I think it's more blissful ignorance. They choose to be ignorant.
And that's pretty sad that a lot of people these days have been doing that. Anyway, thank you, Kevin. Have a great day.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Best to you and Emmett. Let's go to Robert in Caldwell with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning. I guess I'm coming to you as a crazy, deplorable, uneducated POS this morning. But anyway, Sarah Sanders, maybe she should have shot back and said, well, where is your empathy over the millions and millions of children that have been separated from their parent through abortion that you haven't reported on?
Good point.
Now, there's something that maybe they ought to talk about, and talk about something that's uncaring and unfeeling and unloving. That's where it's at.
Oh, it's amazing.
That's all I get.
All right, Robert, thank you. It's amazing that the criminals, the reprehensibles, the illegals, and what is it about illegals? They're illegal. They get the benefit of the doubt, but the Americans do not.
Yes, we are pursuing a zero-tolerance prosecution policy at the border.
Right. The Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, saying it's time to end the open border policy.
Having children does not give you immunity from arrest and prosecution. Bringing children with you doesn't guarantee you won't get prosecuted. Cannot be. Certainly doesn't give immunity to American citizens who commit crimes because they have children that they might leave behind when they're incarcerated.
Exactly. That's the Attorney General's point. When you're incarcerated, you don't get to take your kids. It's not take your kid to jail day, is it? No, it's not. So we have the faux outrage, the faux everything else about these children being torn away from their parents. Well, don't come to America illegally.
If you cross the southwest border unlawfully, then the Department of Homeland Security will arrest you. They catch you, and the department will prosecute you. That is what the law calls for. And that is what we're going to do.
And we're seeing that. But like I said, the outrage with the CNN reporter going after Sarah Sanders, and you think to yourself, is this really necessary? No, it's not necessary. All this does is antagonize, and, like Sarah said, this guy wants to get more camera time on CNN. But when you think things are going on, remember, they're angry. And you see this anger right now. And the reason why you see this anger is Trump was not supposed to win. It was supposed to be the complete takeover of America, culturally, morally, ethically. And that hasn't happened.
Day one that we were going to enforce the law. I know it was something that wasn't high on the priority list in the previous administration, but it is on ours. We're a country of law and order, and we're enforcing the law and protecting our borders. We would like to fix these loopholes, and if Democrats want to get serious about it instead of playing political games, they're welcome to come here and sit down with the president and actually do something about it.
Jill, don't you have any empathy?
Jill, go ahead.
Come on, Sarah, you're a parent. Don't you have any empathy for what these people are going through? They have less than you do.
Guys,
Sarah, come on,
settle down.
Seriously.
I'm trying to be serious, but I'm not going to have you yell out of turn. Jill, please call.
It's a law, and they have, these people have nothing.
Hey, Ryan, I know you want to get some more TV time, but that's not what this is about. I want to recognize you. Go ahead, Jill.
Honestly, answer the question. It's a serious question. These people have nothing. They come to the border with nothing, and you throw children in cages. You're a parent. You're a parent of young children.
There we have it. Maybe he should go talk to the Attorney General. Maybe there should be a timeout in the James A. Brady press briefing room. Like, Brian, it's time for you to go to timeout. You haven't had your nap. Doesn't that seem what it is with this reporter? It's like he didn't get his nap. He needs a timeout. We're going to find out what's happening in your world with Maggie O'Meara. In addition to that, more of your phone calls about the issues that matter to you. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie.
Good morning, Kevin.
When it's funny when you see the fake news, and you guys aren't fake, but I signed an agreement where we get everything. But they say Trump lost because he agreed to meet. Trump agreed to meet. Got the picture. No, it's a funny thing. You got to watch your CNN. I mean, what a fraud it is. They go. They're listening. They're right behind you. That's fine. Trump, do you hear me?
That was the president with Fox and Friends from earlier this morning. He saw that they were at the White House lawn, so he went out and hung out with Steve Doocy. And we're so proud of our association to be the Fox News station here in the Treasure Valley. When you hear Fox News on the radio, whether it's Sean Hannity or Steve Doocy or Fox and Friends or others, or our great reporters from Fox News Radio, you'll hear from Eben Brown coming up. You're listening to KIDO Talk Radio. As I said before, we do our very best to give you the news not only around the Treasure Valley, but around the country, whether we're going to go to Florida to talk a little bit about guns, whether we go to Washington with John Decker or New York with Tanya J. Powers. When you think of Fox News on the radio in Idaho, in the Treasure Valley, it is 580 AM and 107.5 FM. 580 KIDO. Let's go to Eben Brown we were just teasing his appearance from Fox News Radio, live from Florida. Eben, good morning.
Good morning.
So you've got a gubernatorial candidate. He's fighting back against claims he allowed hundreds of thousands of concealed carry licenses to be issued with no background checks.
Well, yes, there was an article in a newspaper here in Florida last week saying that Adam Putnam, who is the Commissioner of Agriculture in Florida and responsible for issuing concealed carry licenses, who also happens to be the leading Republican in the field for the upcoming governor's race, that his office issued hundreds of thousands of these permits without background checking people because the office couldn't access the National Instant Criminal Background Check System, which is known as NICS. NICS is the same background check that's done instantly when you buy a firearm. That's done nationwide. The reality of it is that the article presented this as this went unknown until an inspector general's report, and it happened at the same time coinciding with the Pulse nightclub shooting, as if to suggest they were connected somehow. The reality that we've learned in my follow-up is that the inspector general's report was done at the behest of Commissioner Putnam when he discovered the employee not doing the proper background check. But however, when a concealed carry application is made in Florida, the NICS check is supposed to be done, but they also take fingerprints, and they do fingerprint checking, and they do another range of background checking. NICS is just one part of the equation. So what they ended up finding out was that there were only 365 applicants who didn't get NICS checked. And of those 365, they went back and NICS checked them, and they found that 291 would be disqualified from having a concealed carry permit in Florida, and so they revoked those licenses. What the article also doesn't focus on too much is that this is about concealed carry. You don't need a license to purchase or own a firearm in Florida, or in much of the nation for that matter. And so regardless of that, even if you had a license or you didn't have the license, if you went to go buy a firearm at retail, you would have been NICS checked at that point. That NICS check would have been done via the Florida State Police, known as the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. And when I spoke with them, they said that they had never had a problem accessing that system. Every retail purchase in the state had a NICS check done on it, without question. That was not included in the original article that was published. Furthermore, they again made a sly allusion to the Pulse nightclub shooter. Again, a concealed carry wouldn't have been necessary in order to buy the firearm the shooter used. He bought it. He passed the NICS check. It was done on him, but he passed it because he had no criminal record. And he also happened to have been licensed at a higher tier because he was a security professional working for the U.S. government at via a contractor at a federal courthouse. So, and none of that had to do with Commissioner Putnam's office and the concealed carry matters. The article, in my opinion, was inaccurate. Perhaps could mislead people. I felt I could do a better job reporting that story, so I did.
How crazy are the I guess any political race in Florida? We hear so much about it. Is it fairly crazy, particularly the governor's races?
I think any race is going to be crazy, and perhaps more crazier just in these times. But specific to Florida in this case is the fact we've just had a major school shooting. Temperatures are high. And when an article comes out like this, alleging certain things or presents half-truths or gives perhaps an inaccurate impression, it doesn't just stay contained to that Tampa Bay Times article, because within an hour it was republished or rewritten in a way by the Huffington Post and by thehill.com and by the Washington Post, I think, and a lot of other media that are nationally or internationally consumed. And there are specific forces that argue the case of gun control one way or the other, and they use it as fodder to further their case. And once the false fact gets out there, if you will, I hate the term false fact because if it's false, it's not a fact. But once it gets out there, reining it back in and correcting people is hard, especially when people aren't being intellectually honest with one another. When you have a vested interest in an outcome, you're not necessarily interested in the truth.
Eben Brown, we appreciate you. Thank you, sir.
You got it.
Eben Brown, setting the record straight. Kevin Miller in the morning here at KIDO Talk Radio. So your reaction to the IG report. Let's get some feedback here. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. America's mayor had this to say earlier this morning on Fox and Friends on KIDO Talk Radio.
They should end it. I mean, the IG report basically tells you that both prongs of the Mueller investigation are either corrupt or answered. The second one, the obstruction of justice, I mean, this report is a complete and absolute explanation of why Comey had to be fired. So how can it be obstruction of justice? Every reason for firing him is laid out here.
Yeah, it's time to end this report. It's time to launch another special prosecutor at Comey, at Rosenstein, and all these others. And remember, if you're just hearing about this, the Inspector General released his report, and in it said there was no political bias. Yet you have the text from FBI agent Peter Strzok. And why is Peter Strzok important? He was the one that told Comey to remove some of the language in his statement concerning exonerating Hillary Clinton. Peter Strzok and his girlfriend, I believe they were both married to other people at the time. Maybe one of them was married. They had to be because they were having an affair. To Lisa Page, a high-level ranking official within the Federal Bureau of Investigation. She's worried Trump is going to get elected. He says, paraphrasing, "Don't worry, dear, he'll never be elected. We'll never allow Trump to be elected." Now, how in the world can anyone say with a straight face there was no political bias? And remember, the fix was in. Hillary Clinton was supposed to win. The deep state was supposed to continue on. She was going to put the Obama administration's policies on steroids, right? She was supposed to be the standard bearer. None of this ever would have come out, right? None of it. And yet, here we have this report saying the FBI, certain elements were targeting President Trump's campaign.
The people in the FBI are incredible. I would bet if you took a poll in the FBI, I would win that poll by more than anybody's ever won a poll. But the top people were horrible. You look at what happened. They were plotting against my election. Probably has never happened like that in terms of intelligence, in terms of anything else. But they were actually plotting against my election.
Here's the other thing. This had to be, and let me just say this with all due respect, this had to be divine intervention. Hillary Clinton rigged the Democratic primary, and she stumbled against good old Bernie the socialist. She gets to the Democratic convention, has a ton of money, has the media at her side. Trump, he's hiring people, firing people. You've got the Ted Cruz people. They hate Donald Trump. Well, they don't hate him. They just don't like him. But, there's controversy. The convention's a disaster. And Hillary Clinton's rolling into the end, overconfident, and boom. All of a sudden, she loses. Strzok, Page, Rosenstein, McCabe, all of them are exposed. So they launched this Russia investigation. And friends, we live in a great place. But I can remember many times our friend Tom Munns would call in and talk about society. And I said, look, we're living in the Matrix. And if you haven't seen that movie, I highly recommend it. The first one, not the one after that, again and again. But we're living in a world of delusion. We have seen what Obama and his acolytes and cronies, Susan Rice lying about Benghazi, and the press covering it up. Eric Holder hates guns. Loretta Lynch covering up for Clinton. Eric Holder going after James Rosen, a nonpartisan reporter from Fox News, had the FISA courts investigate him because he broke a story on North Korea that happened to be correct. They went into his computers, his parents' computers, probably their televisions, to probably search their homes. If you were one of the people, yesterday we had a young man talk about Prop 8 in California. They investigated and did their very best to ruin people and their businesses that supported Prop 8 in California. Tea Party people slow-rolling your approvals for nonprofits and then targeting you, the audits, again and again. Conservative talk show host that didn't toe the line, targeted, eliminated. That all happened under Obama. So is it hard to believe, which it isn't because we have the Inspector General's report, that Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, Andrew McCabe, probably Rosenstein, all involved in this. And instead of focusing in on how the deep state and Hillary Clinton almost stole the election, what do we get? We get Putin. What did Putin do? Put up a couple Facebook ads? I mean, really?
What my fellow citizens expect is for the agent that does the follow-up to be free of taint and bias, like 99% of the FBI agents are. It just so happened the one picked to follow up and leave the Russia investigation has manifest animus and can't think of a single person to vote for Donald Trump. So those two are inextricably intertwined. Most of my fellow citizens would say, yeah, I want to know what Russia was doing to us in 2016. But I also want the person that's finding out, that's investigating it, to be free of bias and free of taint.
And this report found that that didn't happen. And Comey, the useful idiot, the terms the Russian use for describing people. I guess that's how you describe Director Comey, a useful idiot. Because, he didn't notify Lynch. Lynch was compromised, and you have people working for him. He was either, and this is how you win an argument with someone, you're either complicit or incompetent. Which is it with Comey? 580-5436. 580-KIDO. It's so much better when you ask that question than have to answer it. Kevin Miller on 580 AM, 107.5 FM, KIDO Talk Radio. Blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning here. Phone numbers 580-5436. 580-KIDO.
Peter Strzok, the FBI agent who was on Hillary Clinton's investigation and arguably the lead Russia investigator, not only wanted to stop his campaign, but once he won, got on the Mueller probe because he wanted to impeach him. That is a level of animus and bias that everyone should reject. And Chris Wray, I'm sorry, you're wrong. Chris, there are consequences. The consequences are that your fellow citizens question whether or not they can have confidence in the world's premier law enforcement agency.
There we have it. Trey Gowdy laying the facts down. Peter Strzok needs to be fired. Comey needs to be investigated, and Mueller needs to, well, go to the beach. Liberal Steve joins us now. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, sir.
Hey, buenos dias, Idaho. Anybody seen my kids? Fire up, Miller. I mean, come on. It works both ways, and you're right. It was probably divine intervention. So what's he got to worry about? And like Trump always says, if you're not guilty, why worry? And I want to reprimand you, too. Oh, a few Russian Facebook posts?
Yeah.
Russian was met. Oh, a few.
Couple Facebook posts. Big deal.
It was you and your right-wing, crazy, conservative conspiracy people were sending out stuff left and right.
Flattery will get you nowhere.
Yeah, so why are you still crying? That's what I want to know. He won the election.
Because you and your ilk tried to steal it. And the deep state
But why
laws.
are you still crying?
I'm not crying. We're telling the truth.
Every
the
day.
Inspector General, just came out with this.
And then who cares about CNN? You know, the majority of Americans don't even have cable. Majority of Americans don't even watch CNN.
I guess it's okay to have the fake news, but it's not in our America.
Hey, that's a good synonym there. Communist News Network, CNN. But you wouldn't care because you're okay with the communists coming in here and doing whatever they want. Yeah, that made me really sad when you said that. That's like Trump telling Russia they should get back into the G7, let Russia back in. Would he quit sticking up for Putin? You know Putin's got something on him. You know he's got it. And it's going to surface sooner or later, and then everything will become discombobulated, and it'll make Hillary look good, which I don't want to happen because Hillary was not a good person to be president of the United States, period. But it'll make her look good. It'll be discombobulated. But Trump won. Why are you guys all whiny?
Because there was bias. It wasn't fair, and you know it.
Well, big deal. So there was bias. Let it be settled. And Mueller, a veteran, Marine Corps veteran, a Purple Heart winner for being wounded in battle. When was the last battle you were wounded in fighting for the country, Miller? And yet you put him down left and right. What was the last time Sessions? When was
By the way, would Liberal Steve like to wear lipstick for the raising of the gay flag from Terry from State College, Pennsylvania?
Oh, Terry, that's a shameful thing you said, Terry. It's because of the hate Terry has in his heart for people that are different than him or have a different sexual orientation, including you, Miller.
He just asked you a question if you would wear some lipstick. I think men wearing lipstick is mainstream these days.
Well, big deal. What's wrong with lipstick? Yeah, I would wear lipstick.
You have worn lipstick, and you have the earrings, and gosh knows what else.
Every time I see Terry,
and you paint you paint your toenails.
Does that make you anything? And if it made me gay, big deal.
Don't know a lot.
What?
Well, are you coming out?
What are you saying, Miller? What are you saying?
Sounds like you're coming out.
What are you saying, Miller? What are you saying?
You just said you're coming out.
I never said I was coming out.
Well, you said if it makes me gay, big deal.
Miller, if I was gay, I wouldn't be like a senator here in Idaho and say, I'm not gay, stand up in front of
But you paint your toenails pink.
Proud. I would be proud. Okay. And that's what befuddles me. If Terry's gay, come out and say it. Terry, quit hiding in the closet.
I don't think Terry said he was gay. I said he thinks that you should wear some lipstick.
That's just it. Maybe he is, and he's a hider, because he can't take the pressure from people like you and your show.
Thank you, Liberal Steve. And Kevin Miller in the morning here. Coming up next, a salute to fathers that you don't want to miss. Also, Fox News on the radio, and just one of my favorite clips of all time involving the president and the Russians, proving that there was no collusion, will be no collusion, and maybe Robert Mueller is listening. Good morning. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.